This International Women's Day, there's going to be a monumental rally and fair on Friday, the 8th of March at Woodford Square, talking about inspiring inclusion. Bring your message and come. We have Jacquie Burgess, coordinator of the network of NGOs of Trinidad and Tobago for the advancement of women, in studio with us this morning to tell us why we should save the date. Good morning, Jacquie, and welcome.
Thank you very much for having us.
It's a pleasure to have all of you, it's a pleasure to have you on the show this morning, of course, representing your group, your NGO, to say the least. Let's talk a little bit about that, because the theme, advancement of women, is something that's so powerful. How did this come about, and what would you say is the main mission?
Okay, so we invest in women.
Okay.
Our mission speaks to gender equality and, embracing women's advancement. So we do a lot of training, we do a lot of self-actualization, and we do some encouragement, because we find that a number of women, well, not so much now, but there has been an origin where women feel that they are less than.
Yes.
And even today, we still say we're not fixed up yet. So we still have to constantly do that, working on ourselves and others, so that we are comfortable to navigate the space and operate in the space.
100%, definitely. I couldn't agree with you more. And let's go to that about, you just spoke about how many women still feel to this day, let's be realistic about it. We've seen great waves being made, but there's still that part of society that needs to be broken through, for want of a better expression. So why would you say it's important, particularly in Trinidad and Tobago, that we celebrate International Women's Day?
Well, International Women's Day was born out of struggle. And we struggle here too. Yeah. So the day itself is set aside to mark the gains and celebrate the achievements of women, politically, socially, economically, and we have a lot of that. And sometimes it's unknown. We don't know how women have strived and how they had made some big strides in the country. So the day is really to come out and splash that. So
let's talk about that. The message is bring your message and come.
Bring your message and come.
What made you come up with that?
No, that's the theme we have been latching on to every annual theme.
Okay.
So because in every theme that the UN or the campaign team comes up with, we have a message we can add to it. And everybody has a story.
Yeah.
So we're asking you to bring your individual story, bring your message, and come. You might have the same message as somebody else,
right?
But that's your message.
So really, when I was looking at this, one of the things that definitely caught my attention was that word rally. Because many times we hear the word rally and we don't necessarily think big. But this message that's coming, inspire inclusion, bring your message and come, at least to me, denotes that this is a platform where women are going to speak out and share and empower one another. Is this something we're going to experience?
Well, yes. The day, there would be at the top the mayor proclaiming the day, although we know they have the day, but it has been customary that the mayor proclaims the day. So that's happening in the morning. And throughout the day, we would have people bringing solidarity messages, there would be entertainment, and there would be booths. Our member organizations bringing out their wares to display what they do as an organization. And then we have the walk on midday.
Okay.
Right? Now, we are going back to Woodford Square, because in the early days, that's where we did our commemoration. We moved around to Brian Lara, we went to the Savannah, and it's a long time we haven't been to Woodford Square. And this year we said, look, let's go back to Woodford Square and have the walk around town. Now, when we started, 5 people, 10 people, you'd have people had decided the road, I only go home and wash or cook for all your husband while you're doing walking around town. And now there are thousands of
Very
people,
good.
and we still hear the same thing. What are
Yeah.
you doing out on the road? So it's a day for us to make our statement, to rally together, because even on that day, you may find that there are some people who come to you and still might need a little boost.
Of course.
Right? So we dare to support one another, and we're having a good time.
Now, as you mentioned, the booths, I found it quite interesting that also included in your booth lineup is counseling.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, because we find as well when people hear something or when they start to talk, they hear others talk, it may trigger something.
Yeah.
And we always try to provide some kind of support so that if it happens, you have a corner to go in and you have somebody who is trained and, can help you out.
That's something that is so important. Aside from, of course, we talk about women lifting each other up, you do need that space to be able to be heard, and also a space where you feel safe to do so.
Yeah, it is a very safe space, and we encourage people to come out.
And what time is it starting?
Sorry, say that again?
What time is it starting?
We start at 10.
Okay.
That's 10 a.m. And we have a little officialdom at that. Then we have our booths display. And people who are going through the square, people who they may not come to that, but the square is a thoroughfare.
Of course, yes.
So they stop and they can look at the booths, and then the people who are attending specifically, they can mingle, they can, buy stuff,
Right.
hear from others what they're doing. Then we hit the road at midday.
At midday.
Yes, and when we after a round in Port of Spain and we get back to the square, we have a little downtime. People may want to eat and, just cool down because I'm sure it's going to be a hot day. And then in the afternoon time, we have a little entertainment and we bust it up at 4:30.
At 4:30.
People go home early.
All right, wonderful. And just tell us a little bit about the stakeholders who are involved in this, because it's always interesting to see who's willing to invest in a rally for women, particularly.
Okay, so the main drivers would be IGDS, FPA, the network of NGOs, but all of civil society, all that we can reach, have been attending our meetings, our planning meetings. So we have the Girl Guides, we have FP, we have the Mama Toto Birthing Center, nurses, we have trade unions would be coming.
Wonderful.
Little groups, community groups showing interest. So
it's endless. I think that's one of the things that I'm getting from this. We're seeing wide investment in this initiative.
Well, yes. And the investment is really brute bodies.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
We have not had the investment of dollars as yet, but we can still take some of that. Yeah.
Agreed. Very quickly, before we close this conversation, you mentioned the booths. Can people apply to have booths, or is this something that is within your network itself?
Yes, within the sector.
Okay,
NGOs.
wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, great. Well, this has been a really interesting conversation. I can't wait to see what's going to be happening on Woodford
So
Square.
you'll be there then?
Once I can be there, I'm going to be there. All right, and we'll see what happens, because I'm ready to see thousands of women walk around and stand up for their truth, because it's something that's so important. Jacquie, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having us.
It's a pleasure. Happy International Women's Day in advance.
Same
We're
to
celebrating
you.
all week here on CTT.
Same to you.
Jacquie Burgess, coordinator of the network of NGOs of Trinidad and Tobago for the advancement of women, sharing with us a rally and fair coming up this Friday at Woodford Square, starting at 10 a.m. and ending at 4:30 p.m. Don't miss it, and don't miss what's coming up next. It's your birthdays. We'll be back.